All right, what's up, everybody out there in internet land? We are here today to talk to you about kind of what we think about money. This is a topic that Shuang picked out, and she's put together 5 different questions. There are also going to be a couple of short video clips that we include towards the end. Thank you for checking out the video, and let's jump into it. Is there any introduction that you want to give?
Not really. We'll just ask the first question.
Okay.
What's your perspective or perception of money when you were young, when you were growing up?
So I'll keep it short, but I didn't really have much of a perspective about money at all. My family didn't have a lot of it when I was younger. Had to cut coupons, and I would always order like the cheapest thing. If we went out to eat, I would order the cheapest thing on the menu. So I was a little bit conscious of it. But for the most part, it's just not something I thought about outside of maybe if I mowed the lawn and did my chores, I might get like $20 at the end of the week. In my teenage years or in high school, and then maybe I could save up and get an N64, the new video game console or whatever it was. Other than that, it's just I never thought about it, and I didn't think about it in terms of planning towards the future. I didn't think about organizing my life based on the amount of money that I might be able to make. It just wasn't a factor at all to me.
Do you want to be rich when you were young?
No, it didn't matter to me at all. I just didn't even think about it.
Okay. So for me, when I was growing up, I grew up in mainland China, and money, when I was young, I clearly think money is very important, and everybody around me feel like they were talking about money a lot, and clearly it was money supposed to be this good, wonderful, positive thing. And I remember when I was kids, we were really looking forward to the spring New Year, where we have a tradition, the spring festival. The grandparents, the parents would give you the red pocket money. I remember being very excited, getting those thousands of yuan, every year, and then can spend on whatever, I really want to buy. So when I was young, definitely like money. It's a good thing. Even as kids, we all know that. Yeah.
All right.
And then the second question is, when you became adult, entered your adult life, did your perspective about money change?
Somewhat, yes. I even into my young adult, into my 20s, it didn't really change for me. More than I had to make some money to pay the bills, and so I went to college. I worked at a restaurant when I was in college for most of the years that I was in college, and I worked at a restaurant again once I graduated. I worked at a Whole Foods grocery in Miami. I started doing some traveling. But my life, I even worked for the Tennessee Lottery at one point, and that's when I tried to get a real job, where I worked a desk job in a cubicle for a year. And I just, that was the only time that I sort of prioritized money, was that 1 year where I got a real job. But then it was short-lived. And then from there, I ended up teaching kite surfing in the Outer Banks, which is where I met Shuang, and I lived in a car for a stretch of time in California, and drove and lived in a van across the country and into Mexico doing music and pursued music. And the lifestyle that I pursued, the life that I lived, didn't have a lot to do with money at all. And so really most of my life, my perspective didn't really change until we got married. And then once I was married, and I started thinking about, more than just myself, needing to be able to provide for my wife and the future of a possible family and kids that we might have, then I felt like I need to start figuring out, how I can develop a reliable, consistent income. So then it kind of changed for me. I don't know if even you would say that it changed. It's just that it's not that my perspective on money changed. It's that my priorities changed. I had new priorities. So that's how I put it.
Yeah, so I guess my perspective about money didn't really change a lot, either. I just feel like when I grew up, I definitely start appreciating, money is not so easy, to make. And then I think when I was younger, I was traveling here and there and buying luxury bags using my parents' money. And I actually feel like it actually didn't mean, so much but then when I started making my own money, you can understand the effort, behind it. And then, I guess you can really appreciate the labor behind it.
That's a good point.
Yeah, I guess that's it.
Okay, next question.
The third one is, do you think making money is one of the most important thing in life?
Not at all. It's really, you don't, it's the way that today's world is structured. It's kind of at the center, and it's essential if you want to get the resources that you need to live. But there was another time in history where human beings, albeit had it more difficult in terms of risk, physical risk to themselves, and not the creature comforts that we have today, like AC and showers and refrigerators and all that. But human beings survived perfectly fine at another time, and I would imagine, I would be so bold as to say they probably had plenty of happiness throughout their lives as well, without money. And money didn't exist. There's times where money didn't exist at all, and people managed. So no, it's not the most important thing at all. It's not even close. The most important thing is how you conduct yourself. The most important thing is being right with God, being right with your soul. The most important thing is living well and letting the chips fall where they may. That's the most important thing, and that really has nothing to do with money at all.
Yeah. And I think the answer is yes and no, as if money is the most important thing. I say yes because, everything in life, kind of, they all have a price. I'm talking about day-to-day life. You need to pay gas, you need to pay rent, and all these bills are always coming. So it's clearly very important. It's like a social standard currency. You need to be able to pay the price in order to enjoy some service. It is important, but I don't think it's one of the most important thing, because I believe you can genuinely be happy with yourself, be happy with people around you that you love, if you have really good quality relationships in your life. That's more important than money. And some of really rich people can be really miserable. I think ultimately it's the satisfaction towards yourself, your inner happiness is more important. But I feel like sometimes if you're inside, your heart is very hollow, you started to go for the materialistic things, maybe just give yourself more things to do. You go shopping for, clothes or bags, give, to kind of divert of your attention. Or sometimes I even started thinking about, I really enjoy traveling. Clearly, I enjoy the cultures and explore side of traveling, but I think there is also a side shouldn't overlook. Is sometimes you just want to escape the reality, fulfill a little bit of the hollow heart. That's why you need the traveling, and clearly traveling is not cheap. In that part, if your heart is not really fulfilled or whatever, then I think money is important. It can buy you kind of superficial or pleasure things that can buy you. Yeah.
I would just echo. I just wanted to add on real quick, because you touched on what I think is the most important. I think maybe I can say it in a little different way. I just think this is one of the most important things, important points that anybody could ever know. The most important thing in your life is the state of your heart, the state of your soul, because it doesn't matter. Like, the internal condition that you have is going to color all of your experience. And so if you are inside or in a dark place, there's a song that I sing. I'm a singer. There's a song that I sing that talks about There's no greater love. Whatever you do, it basically says that justice will always be served. Everyone gets their just reward in the end. And that's something that probably a lot of people don't believe, because you look around the world and you can see that bad people have things that they want, or they're rich, or they're getting to do, they're powerful or whatever. But what people often overlook is that they are going through all those experiences while the state of their heart, the state of their soul is in a horrible place. It's in a literal sense, they're in hell. They are, because they created that for themselves. And so I just think, I've made this part long, but I think it's really important. No matter how much money you ever get, if you didn't take care of your soul on the way to get there, if you didn't treat others with kindness, if you didn't behave ethically, if you didn't apologize for the things that you do wrong and take ownership for the things you do wrong, then you're not going to be in a state of life where you can actually be happy, or you can be fulfilled, or be positive. You'll have polluted yourself with the darkness, and so money it pales in comparison to the importance of that. So
the quality relationships in your life is more important. More people to love you and you love them. That's more important than money. And the first one is a fine question: is if you can pick the perfect amount of money, how much money do you want to have in this life? Why don't you go first?
I mean, Sean wants me to answer like a specific amount.
Yeah.
Whereas I would say the real answer to that would be kind of piggybacking on what I just said, which is I would want the amount of money that is whatever it is if I led a good life. Whatever God decides to, whatever fate would have, whatever destiny would offer me, if I live a good life, then that's what I want. Because I just don't think it's good to even really mentally go there where you're thinking about a certain amount that you really want that. Because if you're wanting that, you're kind of wanting the wrong thing. That's genuinely how I feel it. So I don't really want to give an amount, but I could just for fun.
Yeah. $500 million.
I don't know.
The more the merrier? No.
It would be nice. I'll say this. It would be nice to have like $5 or $10 million. I feel like if you have that amount.
Living in U.S. Yeah.
Living in the U.S. Yeah. I feel like you can live well, and you could essentially retire and start to just focus on doing the things that you really want to be doing. And you could make that if you're not ridiculous with how you spend money. If you're frugal with how you spend money, you could make that money last the rest of your life, short of any great emergencies or expensive tragedies or expensive emergencies. So maybe 5 to 10 million would be good.
Okay. If I can pick any amount, I guess $1 billion is fine. I don't know. I mean, it's up for me to pick. I just think the more reason is not because I actually feel like I need that much money. It's just because I'm not a billionaire. I really want to see, how a billionaire is like, what having that much money, how would it actually change your mind and your life? Because just between you and me, we had, tons of discussion privately about, do you think more money is better? Like those people that are at the top have tons of money, billions of dollars. Do you think they are actually very happy people, basically? And would we, just you and me, have billions really make our life significantly better? We talked, privately. And I just think I would be very interested to see, how... Because talking is one thing. It's never the same when the reality actually, is that. And then you get to experience, see how your life changed. I'm just interested in how that would really change the life.
They say, and I think I probably agree with this, that money just magnifies what you are. So whatever you are, money's not going to dramatically transform your life or transform your interior state. It's just going to, whatever state you're in, it's going to allow that to perpetuate, to become more powerful or more expansive. It magnifies it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Money is information, and it does not have power in and of itself. If you are stranded on a tropical island and you have $1 trillion, it's useless because there's no resource allocation. Money is a database for resource allocation, but there's no resources to allocate except yourself. So money is useless. If you're stranded on a desert island with no food, all the Bitcoin in the world will not stop you from starving. So just think of money as a database for resource allocation across time and space.
钱呐，太他妈重要了，因为现在钱就是尊严，钱就是爱情，是吧？钱就是正义，
钱就是自由，
钱就是自由，
自由，
对吧？我敢说，我现在就拜金主义。所以你为什么批评孩子什么拜金主义？因为我现在觉得我对这个社会一切的感觉，你说我俗也好，我有我的这个喜好，我有我的精神世界，可是我仍然认为啊，赚钱第一。我确实把钱看在特别重要的这个位置上。你看，所以我想问你们一个问题，我们都曾经视金钱如粪土，我也曾经，但是总有一个时候让你觉得这钱呐，太他妈重要了。
不是粪土，钱不是粪土，
对，钱不是粪土，
我们自己才是粪土。
说得好。
So you guys already watched the 2 short videos we played for you. One is from Elon Musk. What he talked about what money is. And then the other one is from a famous Chinese talk show host. This talk show in China is getting very popular since he did that show where you see his perspective about money. I think basically 99% people in China actually agree with what he said. I guess the 5th question, we are just talking about the general society between American and China. What's the people, their value towards money? What do they think of money? The difference between it. I talk about Chinese first?
Sure.
I feel like China, since I was growing up, it was always a money-focused, money-driven, society where, basically all social class, all income class, they are talking about money all the time, and the whole society is like worshipping money. Everybody always fantasize, what if one day I become this super rich person? Even bunch of TV shows and movie, produced by China for the past few decades are all about, painting this luxury lifestyle of the super rich. They get to go to Hermes, Louis Vuitton, buy this super luxury items without even looking at the price tag. And then the whole society is basically very, fixed on the idea, they just want to make money. They want to be on the top of the society. They want to be able to buy anything they want, the luxury cars, the luxury house without looking at the price. Personally, I really think that's kind of a lack of the belief or lack of the religion, because in China, we don't really have any, religion. It's not like a US, you have a bunch of people are like a Christian or, just a different religion. I think maybe the religion for China for past few decades is really money. That's the new religion. Everybody is looking at money. Yeah, so I'm not really surprised by this Chinese host, Dou Wentao, his comment about money. He said money is freedom, money is belief, money is love, money is dignity, money is everything in China. Yeah, and having it is so important in China. So I'm not surprised so many people agree with his comment and actually genuinely believe that way. So what do you think of Americans? Do you think they are that extreme in money as Chinese?
Some are, yeah.
Really?
Some
have same
yeah.
beliefs?
I think American culture is diverse in that way. There's a wide range of attitudes towards money. So I would say, me personally, that sounds completely crazy to me. that you would say money is love is literally nuts to me.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's dangerous.
He actually meant the direct translation is money is romantic love.
When you're saying these things, when money is these things, it's definitely not those things. It's 100% not those things. When you start drawing the equivalent, those things have profoundly more meaning than money has. Money is something that's just completely made up. The only reason money has value is because everyone agrees that it has value. The moment that anybody, and that kind of goes to the Elon Musk video, is that he says, if you're on an island, money becomes completely useless. It has no value at all. Money is paper, or in these days, and it's probably going to move completely in that direction at some point, it's going to be completely digital.
Right.
So
in China, it's already digital payment all the time.
Yeah, it's going to be worth even less than the paper. So money has inherently almost no value. It's the only value that it has is the energy value that it takes to store, and that's almost a negative value, that it takes to store the digital digits, or the paper, the actual physical paper that the money is printed on, and the ink. That's the only actual inherent value that money has. The rest of the value is just that other people have agreed, everyone else has agreed, and it's always highly debated. The international currency exchange, what money when you want to trade dollars for RMB, everyone has to decide and discuss and agree. And you have people that are doing that are saying this is how much it's worth. And then everyone else is deciding how much can that buy. When you decide to sell your product at a certain amount, you're saying, hey, my product is worth this amount. But money is fundamentally, in my view, the representation of the value that you have created to society. You get that money. And that's a pretty crude way of expressing it, because it is not an accurate depiction of it. But that would be money at its highest form, is that it's the perfect representation of the value that you contributed to the society. And that way you can get that value back. And so if you give a whole bunch of value to the society, you get that much representation of money. So everyone can see, okay, this person, when they see how much money you have, they know, oh, this person did this much for others. And so then when you go say, I want this or I want this, they can feel really good about giving that to you, because everyone can know you already provided the value. That's why you got the money. Now, clearly that's not the way the money works in society today, because people steal, people cheat, people lie.
People kill for money.
People try to cheat the system. They try to use loopholes and take advantage of other people. And so, money isn't necessarily ethically obtained, which is really significant. So money doesn't work quite like you might hope that it would, but to some extent it is a representation of your time or your effort or your value, and then also money is the ability for you to trade that for anything else. Whereas in the past you would have to, say you were a farmer, you would get some onions and some chickens and some eggs, and then you'd have to, if you wanted some nails, you'd have to go find somebody that was willing to trade those nails for eggs or for chickens.
Right.
And that could be kind of difficult, because maybe the guy that has nails doesn't need any chickens. He doesn't want them. So then you can't make a trade. Money kind of allows you to trade for anything at any time. And so that's the whole point of money. But if you start equating money with freedom or love, you got to understand that money is just a representation. And if you start having a love for money, that's why they say it's the root of all evil. You cannot put that as the paramount. That needs to pale in comparison to your emotional state, your standing with God. That is the most important. And so that is kind of what love is your commitment to, even if it means your own sacrifice, that you do the right thing. And then money just doesn't really, it's just not on that plane. It's not in the spiritual plane. So once people start thinking of it in that way, that is an ethical corruption, and it's extremely dangerous, in my opinion. That will lead, if that's what's leading a society, that's pretty dark. So I really hope that's not the case for China.
People are
right.
pretty nice.
People
there.
in general are pretty nice in China.
Pretty
so.
friendly. Yeah. But if you do go to China, expect the bargain. You can bargain everything. Yeah. I'll just supplement with what I think money is. I think money is, as you talked about, it's clearly a social agreement. As long as everybody in the society agree this piece of paper that money has value and can trade, then it has value. It's a thing that everyone desires because it can get you, to buy basically all kinds of things. But I would say that the moment the society crumbles, the moment the society collapses or apocalypse happen, then money doesn't mean anything. And I also would say, money, it is power, so be careful who you give money to or how you spend your money, because it is power and it also is a high form of energy. So I just think it's something you need to be cautious. I would think there is nothing wrong with the love for money as long as you really earned it, you are proud of the work you are done, the effort or the labor, that involved for you to earn this money, and it's from an ethical way. Before we talked about all these celebrities, all these billionaires, people might fantasize their lifestyle or, but I remember reading a comment, you never know what they have to do, what dark things they did or, things in order to get that money. So
yeah, it's not worth being jealous of what you feel like other people have, because you don't know.
Yeah,
you don't
how
know
they got there.
Really what they have until you were actually standing in their shoes.
Right.
Why don't you ask that? You had one other question you were going to ask.
Can I just finish this? I would say, you need, you can love money, but you need to have something that you put before money. For example, a principle. You just say, no matter what a big amount of money you give me, I have a principle that I will never break. Because if you don't have a fundamental principle or ethic, then devil will knock on your door. And then before you know, you basically sign a deal with the devil where he has your soul, and then you can have all the money and the fame, but it's not worth it because it won't even be you possess all that money.
You want to make sure that you're being led by principles, because if you're being led by money, if money is your number one, then whoever has money controls you. If truly money is your number one and you don't stand on principle, then you're going to end up doing things for money that you will regret. So you don't want to do it, and you don't fundamentally have control of yourself. You want to make sure you're being led by principle. That's the most important. Wait, why don't you ask that question that you were going to ask about, would you trade places with?
Yeah, we were talking this for fun. We were reading news Bill Gates just bought his eldest daughter a 50 million penthouse in New York City. And then we're talking about, how good it is to be Bill Gates' daughter, those super rich people. I asked Noah, if God can make you trade position with Bill Gates' daughter, would you do it? And then his answer is no. Why don't you say why? Yeah,
I thought this would be a nice way to end it, because it's just a message to you or to anybody that might have any doubts about this. You don't want to trade places with somebody else, because like we sort of said, you don't really know what the internal state is, and you can't possibly understand their journey. The human journey is going to be difficult no matter what. It does not matter what situation you're put in, you're going to have different challenges. And so you may look at the benefits that somebody else has and say that it's better than what you have. And in some ways, you'll be correct. But the human journey fundamentally is a spiritual journey. And so it doesn't really matter what you're born into. You need to take responsibility for your spiritual journey. And that's the most important thing that you can do. And you have no idea where that's going to lead you, to riches, to poverty, to whatever. The human journey is a spiritual journey. And
It's
so,
an internal
it's an
experience.
internal journey. So if you say, I want to trade places with that person, I mean, you may put yourself into a position that you
That's way
had
worse.
no idea. We watched a movie not long ago that kind of is actually on this topic.
Yeah,
and it's kind
everybody
of
should
crazy.
watch. It's really funny video.
What was it called?
We'll put it on the
Okay.
screen. I don't remember on top
But
of my
it's
head.
basically about that idea of this person's on a little trip. He joins a chef. They're both chefs, and they maybe went to chef school together, and they haven't
Yes.
seen each other in years. And one chef invites him out for a little trip because he got a good gig where he's staying at this beautiful place, and so they meet up. And the other chef that's visiting, he is jealous. He's in a friendly way, but he's jealous because this guy gets to get paid like a whole bunch of money to stay at this
300K,
beautiful
yeah.
resort or this beautiful home, and he's living the life, right? And so he wants to trade places with them. But then what he ends up discovering is that the reason he's in that position is a very dark reason. And so I won't spoil it, but it will put the title of it. But the point is, you just don't know what you're getting yourself into. There are a whole bunch of challenges that inevitably Bill Gates' daughter has. For example, there's a reason why I said 5 to 10 million. I wouldn't, if I was just going to pick any amount of money that I could have, I wouldn't really want to go for like into the billions, because I feel like you start to become a target, and you start to have all these things that you have to be fearful about. I think that there are ways that it might transform your life that you can't possibly predict. The friendships that you have right now, if you were to win the lottery, that might reveal a lot of the weaknesses of the friendship, which could be a good thing in the sense that maybe it reveals the truth of those relationships. But in another way, it might just put a strain on those relationships and break what were otherwise wonderful parts of your life. And so I think you can't really possibly imagine what it's like to be in somebody else's shoes until you're in those shoes. So the most important thing you can do is be grateful for the life that you have,
Right.
and take full advantage of the life that you have now, and make it the best that you possibly can. I think that's there's not a lot of sense in looking around and being jealous. Yeah.
Yeah, and I want to share, before you told me one lyric from a famous singer. You said he wrote it in one of his songs, said, when you are at the top, you feel like you are at the bottom. Who is that from?
It's in actually a number of songs, but the one that you're referencing is
Right.
Bob Dylan.
Okay.
Yeah.
So clearly a bunch of famous singers, when they, made it, they clearly wrote it secretly in their song. It's kind of not worth it.
It's then like you made it to the top, and it's when you make it to the top, when you're at the top of everything, that's when you realize you're actually on the bottom. And that's what he said, and I think you could take him at his word. I don't think that he's lying in the song. You can listen to it.
Also, there is another song, like Moon 5. Oh, I don't know. You told me a similar one. A super long lyric.
Yeah, it's a common theme with a number of very, very success, like the highest level of success, music stars. That theme has come forward in a number of songs. They could just be pretending and being like,
Yeah, they don't want us to be as them. Yeah.
But I think that in a significant way it is, because if you aspire to be rich, or you aspire to be this successful, that you have this drive and this ambition that it gives you this energy and this goal. And when you're there, now what? And you're still alive.
Thank you guys so much for watching this video. And if you like it, please like the video and subscribe to our channel. And then we'll see you guys next time.
Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.